Welcome to the Purpose for Life podcast. I'm your host, Suzanne Roberts. I'm author of It's Deeper Than That and founder of The Great Reconnection. And I'm thrilled to have on here today Holly Klein. And how I know Holly is because I decided I wanted to do volunteer work in Akron, Ohio. And I heard about Grace House. And Holly is one of the founders and visionaries with fortitude of heart and spirit to bring Grace House into existence. And I feel so fortunate to get to volunteer there. But I'm going to ask you, Holly, what is Grace House and how did you ever get the vision to want to do it? And how did that vision move into action?
Yeah, great question. Thanks for having me today. You know, the whole concept of Grace House started because I'm a registered nurse. I've been a registered nurse for 27 years and have worked in the hospice field for 17. And it really goes back to the days when I was going into people's homes, and we'll use that term loosely because home could have been a car, it could have been a homeless shelter, all the way up to, $1 million, multi-million dollar homes. But the people who were housing insecure, food insecure, lived in undignified conditions, or maybe didn't have family, didn't have a caregiver, those were really the people who kind of really weighed on me. And had some patients who passed away alone. And I just thought, man, in our society, we should do better, right? We should not be allowing people to die alone and wonder if they were in pain, if they were scared, if they were short of breath, were they anxious? There's enough abundance in our society that we should be able to care for each other. From being a field nurse in hospice, I stepped into a management position, and that kind of gave me that bigger perspective of, wow, this happens a lot more than just in my little world, right? So I was really blessed to be working with the right people at the right time. And I always joke and say that my co-founder got tired of me saying, we should do better, we should do more. And she introduced me to her husband, and the three of us together said, there's no other nonprofit or mission that serves people, and there's a need, so let's do it. So we started Grace House, and Grace House is a 6-bedroom comfort care home. We're located in the North Hill community of Akron, right where St. Thomas used to be for people in the area. And we serve people who are without a caregiver, can't afford a caregiver, or don't have access to a caregiver, who are enrolled in a hospice program. And essentially, we provide the housing and 24-hour caregiving while the hospices come in and provide the end-of-life care. So, just seeing that need and thinking people deserve dignity. And, we really believe that people should die in the presence of care in a safe environment and be surrounded by love. That was where the concept of Grace House came from.
That brings tears to my eyes.
Aww,
Because
such a great place.
It is such a great place. Is it called care? What is it? What's my role there?
Caregiver to the caregiver?
No,
or a companion?
I'm a companion, and I do come and clean sometimes and run errands sometimes, but I'm a companion. So when I come in, I get to sit with a resident. Is that what you call them, a resident? Or
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And I get to sit and be with them, or sometimes we talk, sometimes we don't talk, sometimes we watch TV together, and sometimes I get to explore things about them that are really, really interesting and meaningful, and it's just so beautiful. And I have been invited in to sit while someone's dying. I haven't been able to make it yet, but I've sat with many people dying. And I agree with you. Everybody deserves, should they want, deserves to have somebody with them, and like you said, observing their pain, observing their breathing, observing how can they get comfort, and just I'm so grateful that you had the hardest spirit for that and just didn't give up and found people that wanted to go the distance with you.
Yes, I am. I'm resilient, if nothing else.
And tenacious.
I'm tenacious. And, to what you were saying, that gift of presence, I think that is one of the best things we do here. So many of our residents come from backgrounds that have significant life trauma, right? And we
Right.
see a lot of mental health issues, a lot of addiction issues. So there's life trauma and baggage, right? Just stuff they carry. And their biggest fear is nobody's going to remember them. So by people like you and our volunteers
Right.
and hospice workers and our staff that come in and just provide presence, that is such an important gift that we give to our friends.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's amazing. Will you talk about the journey of having an idea and how it actually came into a structure because it does exist and it is a
Yeah.
nonprofit, and how it gets funded? And also, I'll start there, but I also want to talk about other ways it can be supported. But let's talk about it, how it went from vision to
Yeah.
structure in a nonprofit and how it gets funded and things like that.
I think one of the biggest lessons to learn if anybody's interested in doing something like this, right, taking a vision and a thought and putting it into work is be patient. Everything took a year. From the very first thought of wow, we should really do more, right? We had to explore what that meant. So a lot of site visits. Grace House is really unique. We are a member of the Omega Home Network, which is about 60 homes throughout the
Mm,
nation that are somewhat similar to Grace House, serve end of life. What makes Grace House unique in that network is that number one, we don't charge our residents for anything to be here. Their stay here is free of charge. We wanted to remove all financial burden.
mm-hmm.
So we could really serve our community's most vulnerable and marginalized individuals. The other thing is our residents can bring their pets. Most places don't allow pets. You'll often hear a dog or cat in the
Yeah.
house. We've had a guinea pig. But also, we're unique. There's only 3 homes in the nation like us that focus on the population we focus on and that focuses on the housing piece, right? I want somebody to be here and be able to feel safe and
Mm,
secure and know that this is going to be their last stop if it needs to be their last stop, and not worry about anything else after that. Just come, be safe. So, coming up with that, we started visiting other homes, focusing on how will we operate. That whole concept really took about a year just to figure out what do we want Grace House to be.
mm,
Then we sat down and we said, okay, if we're a nonprofit, we need a board, right? How do we form our board? Who do we want on our board? How do we get the community to support us? So that took another year. And we were really blessed. In 2017, we were approved to become a nonprofit. And in early 2018, we held a big awareness event down at the Civic Theater in Akron. And we had over 200 people attend, which
nice.
was incredible. And again, the mission attracts what we need. And when a health system CEO was there, and he came forward and donated land to us.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's amazing. We didn't have a location. We didn't know where we were going to be. We were searching. We looked at it, and then he's like, hey, I have property. So we took possession of the land in July of 2019. We had an architectural firm create the home design for us. That took a year. So we ended up getting our home design finalized in June of 2020. And we thought, oh boy, everything was just starting to reopen. At the pandemic, we thought we were coming out of the pandemic. Little did we know it was really just the beginning. So then that put us into a whole kind of state of, wow, how do we raise money and fundraise and
Mm.
do this during a pandemic? With our mission, the pandemic, I think, really helped us because so many people were dying alone in hospitals
Oh, that's right.
that people were like, I can't imagine what that would be like. So I think there was a little bit more natural support. And again, another blessing, we were able to raise $4 million in 20 months to build Grace House and then operate once we opened. This community was
Wow.
incredible. I mean, that I don't know how else to say it. They were absolutely amazing and so incredibly generous. We broke ground in September of 21 and we accepted our first resident in September of 22.
I keep hearing this year,
Yes.
year. Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. And
Everything takes a year.
and just what I really appreciate is having the conviction and the fortitude, and I'm going to use the word tenacity, to stay with it because you kept saying we have to do better, and you've never let go of we have to do better. You never have.
Right.
Someone has to be in charge that's willing to stand there and say, not on my watch. We have to do
Yeah.
better and not give it up.
Absolutely.
And so I appreciate your fortitude of character as a leader in that
Thank
particular
you.
way. And how do you stay funded to sustain people having not everybody, it's their last home because some people get better when they're there, but most
Yeah.
people do die there. But
Yeah.
how do you get sustained financially?
We raise every dollar because of our uniqueness. We don't get government funding. So no federal, state, county, city. Nobody really knows what to do with us. And that has blessings and curses, right? Blessing is we can operate without a lot of over-regulation, and it gives us the flexibility to really meet our resident needs where they are. The curse there is nobody knows what to do with us. So we're not under Department of Health, we're not under, mental health. So we have to raise every dollar. Our operating budget is about $1 million a year. So every year we have to raise $1 million. The house operates 24 hours a day,
Right.
7 days a week. So there's always a light on. Our utilities are always sky high, and we have to staff the house 24/7. So if you take a normal business and then think, okay, now you have to pay wages 24 hours a day.
Amazing
Yeah.
that you do that. And I know that you're having a fundraiser coming up.
We are. We have two fundraisers a year. We have our Walk for Grace at the Akron Zoo in June 13th. That's always a nice event. Just come walk the zoo. There's no formal walk. You just bring your family, bring your grandkids, your kids, and we do a little scavenger hunt for the kids, and you get to learn a little bit more about Grace House along the way. And then in October, we have our larger fundraising event, and that's a Viva Las Vegas casino night this year.
But let's
Mhm.
say, because this podcast is worldwide, and not everybody's going to come to the Akron
That's right.
Zoo or to the
Mhm.
casino night. And I saw, because I just got an email today, that you can donate and it'll be matched. So anybody can donate from anywhere and help
That's
support Grace
right.
House. You don't have to come to the Akron Zoo. You don't have to come to casino night. You could stay in your own house, push that donate button. So
That's right.
how do I'm going to push it so that my money gets matched.
That's
So
right. I appreciate that.
exactly, because now that I've been there, I absolutely am a firm stand for Grace House being sustained after what I've seen being there. And I think I've only been there like 4 months, and I'm feverish and passionate about it. So,
That's right.
whoever's listening now, how can they find that donate button, Holly?
It's really easy. It's literally gracehouseakron.org. And up in the upper right corner, you'll see a donate now button. Just click that button and it's super easy.
Yes, thank you. I hope you all
Mhm.
join in donating and giving. All humans deserve to die with dignity and with love and with care and be fed until they can't eat anymore.
That's
And
right.
and you have a lot of volunteers that come in to help make that place happen. And if you are in the Akron area, see how you can volunteer. Do you have any great stories? Because I heard some stories when I was getting trained. Can you give us some
Oh gosh,
stories?
I do. So one of the stories I like to share kind of goes back to what we were talking about with presence. We had one of our very first residents, David. He was really hesitant to come because he had a little Chihuahua, Valentino. And David lived in an RV, which I'll use that term loosely because it really was a truck bed with a tarp. But he had no running water, no heat, but really needed Grace House. And he came in for a tour and he said, I'm getting close. I'm thinking about coming. And 2 or 3 days later, he called us back. He said, I'm ready to come. Can I bring the dog? We're like, of course you can bring the dog. Because for some of our residents, if they can't bring their pet, they're
Right.
not coming. So that was very important to us when we were preparing to open, of how do we make this a place where people can bring their pets. So David came to us, and one of the first nights he was here, I was working, and it was like 2 or 3 in the morning, and he was like, can you make some spaghetti? And I was like, sure, because he was watching a cooking show and it was an Italian themed cooking show, and he was like, spaghetti just sounds really good. So we made spaghetti and had spaghetti together at 3 o'clock in the morning. And he was like, this was the best spaghetti in the world. I was like, David, it was Prego. It was not the best spaghetti in the world. But to him, who had not had spaghetti homemade or sat down with somebody and had dinner for, like, that was priceless. The other piece with David that just always touched me is towards the end of his life, he was really short of breath, but enjoyed going out into our courtyard and sitting on the patio. And it was still summertime. So he asked to go out, and I was like, David, you're pretty short of breath. I don't really want to leave you out here alone. Can I just grab my computer and sit here and work with you? He's like, yeah. So he's sunbathing, essentially, sitting. The sun is basking on his face, and he was short of breath, but you could see him calming down. And he just opened his eyes and looked at me and said, you know what I like about you? I was like, what's that, David? He said, you're just present. You don't make me talk. You're just here. That presence is so important, for people who have not had it. And it's just such a gift that we can give to them. It's one of my favorite things about the work we do.
Well, honestly, I think most people aren't present with other people.
I agree.
We don't
Yeah, I
stop.
agree.
We don't stop and pause and just be together. So,
Yeah,
but that he could recognize this. I think there's something that happens when people are letting go of their identity and his truck, or what, his RV,
yeah,
whatever. It was his, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
all that starts to go. What's left but presence? And in presence is really love and
yeah.
acceptance. And I just love that is built into what Grace House is. It's
I would love to
beautiful.
share Polly's story as
Yeah.
well. Polly was actually one of our very first referrals that we got when we opened, and I followed Polly for a year before I could get her to come to Grace House. Polly was in her, I think she was 62 or 63, and she was unhoused for over 20 years. She
Wow.
actually lived, for local folks who know, down at the Polsky deck by the University of Akron. And University of Akron students used to bring her pizza, and she lived there because she felt safe because it was by the police station. Polly was an untreated schizophrenic at the time and developed skin cancer on her face, on her cheek. And that ended up being her terminal diagnosis. And so I would just start going wherever Polly was and start talking with her, because she just didn't trust anybody, right? Because of how severe her schizophrenia was. And then Polly was hospitalized and was brought to Grace House on hospice. And the beautiful thing that happened for Polly while she was here is she was able to, Adult Guardian Services track down her family, and she was able to reconnect with her daughter-in-law and her grandchildren. And so the grandchildren would come at holidays and decorate her room. But even just as importantly, I would say, Polly's mental health was treated while she was here. And for the first time in 20 years, Polly felt like she was part of a community. She loved to clean, so she would mop our floors. She liked to make floral arrangements, so we'd stop and buy bouquets of flowers and bring them in, and Polly would make a vase of flowers for every resident and take them down to their room. And Polly died here with people surrounding her who cared for her and loved her, and that was after being on the streets for 20 years. That was just beautiful.
What a send-off, right?
Yeah.
What an end-of-life story, to have restoration and healing and contact and purpose.
Yeah. I think that human contact, I think we often underestimate that psychosocial support, like how important that is, from being alone to being part of a community. I think we grossly underestimate the importance.
I agree in all aspects of that. That's how my book ends, is with collective power. How can we become better human beings and belong to ourselves and each other in a way that what hurts you hurts me, what hurts me hurts you, and live differently. So I love that's actually practiced. And yeah, that's just absolutely amazing. Amazing. Do you have any other stories you'd like to share?
Oh, there's so many stories. We also served a resident. Richard was a veteran. He came to us. He lived alone. He did have a daughter, but Richard had not left his home in over 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. In his home, the hospice was not able, it was in disrepair enough that it was being condemned, and hospice would not go into the home to serve him anymore because it was not safe. So Richard came to us and very anxious, right? First time left, even though it was in disrepair, it was his, right? We just talked about that a little bit ago. Control at the end of life is so important because this is all they have left to control, right? There's no control over their body, over losing the ability to be independent. Now I need to take medications and I'm dying. So sometimes the things people grasp onto, we just have to say, okay, is it hurting us? We just have to really look at it and say, let them have their control. This is all there's left. It'll ease. Let's pick our battles. So Richard came very, very anxious and wanted to leave immediately. And we got him to stay because he likes chili. And we're like, all right, give me your chili recipe. I'll make you chili tonight. And at that time, we were making jokes like we're the house of grumpy old men because we only had men. And Richard was only with us a short time, but over the course of time, he formed friendships. And these gentlemen started going into each other's rooms, and they would order pizza and watch football. They formed genuine friendships while they were here. And for some of them, it was the first friendship they formed in years.
I think what I really appreciated about Grace House is it is a housing building with 6 bedrooms where they each have their own bathroom. There's a shower in the hall, right? Isn't that right?
Yep, a shower room, yep.
And they can make their room their own because every room is really different. I mean, they all have a hospital bed and they have certain basic things that are the same, but every room represents that person. And
they're allowed to bring what they want in so they can make it what they want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that for me, coming in new as a companion, there's a way of, when you talk about presence, for me, it was, I'm new to them, right? And so how can I come in and not expect something from them for me,
Right.
right? And be there and let them know, get a sense of me, and let them choose if they want me to stay or not stay. And over time, a lot of people have just said, yes, please stay, and wanted to talk, but some people will say no. And some people, like one, like I was telling you about, I went and spoke in her native tongue to her, and then it took her a minute, and now wants to watch Wednesday with me, which I had never heard of before, but now I love
Yes.
Wednesday. So it was like we just had a giggle together. And there's something about learning that as well as a volunteer, like what are we here for? And
Right.
and on what terms, right? And I think that there's something to learn in that capacity too, in being respectful about life. And I think we can apply that outside of Grace House, like
Absolutely.
how to be in relationship, how to discover what delights someone, and like how it, like you said, does that need to become a battle, or is that something that can be given? And I think that's a great message for all of us in all of our relationships. How do we give dignity to life? But one of the things that I appreciate so much about what you've been sharing is like you, like how you said it takes a year. Like for Polly, it took a year.
Yeah.
Or for whomever, for them to come in, even if it's 24 hours, that's a year to them. To give
Yeah.
everyone the space and time to find what safety might feel like for the first time, what presence might feel like for the first time, without an agenda, without pressure, with discovery and with
Yeah.
partnership. And I just think that's absolutely exquisite. We're going to have to begin to wind down. Now, I always ask my guests, what do you think the purpose for life is?
I think it's presence and honoring the journey.
Mm,
And what I mean by that is not everything I do is about me. Sometimes it's just about being with somebody or allowing that presence, and it still brings you joy or it bring you a lot of things. But just being present and honoring where you are for what it is goes a long, long
long,
way.
long way. Well, Holly, thank you for being with us today. I'm so grateful for who you are as a human being. I'm grateful that I get to be part of Grace House. And everyone that's listening here, just open up your computer, open up your phone, get on gracehouse.org, go to that upper corner, click on donate, and be part of this incredible solution. Like Holly said, there's only 3 like this in the country or world?
Yeah.
Country?
In the country. I
Country.
don't know about the world, but
But in our country, come on, y'all. Let's support Grace House and give dignity to life. Thank you so much, Holly.
thank you, and thank you for all you do for us.
Oh, thanks.
I
I love it.
appreciate you.
I'm so grateful.
Mhm.
This is the end of this episode on Purpose for Life. Thank you for joining us. Subscribe and keep listening. We always have interesting people that have deep purpose in their livingness, and we're glad to have you here. I'm Suzanne Roberts, your host. I'm the author of It's Deeper Than That and the founder of The Great Reconnection.